video. Why can't I get that? No. I'm gonna redo that. Hey everyone, Chrissy here with Two Sheep, One Wheat, and today's video I have an overview and a review for you on Tapestry and the expansion Plans Employ. Let's get to it. So first, I just wanted to say a big thank you to Stonemaier Games for supplying this copy for me to review it for you guys, and that's exactly what I plan on doing with it, and to play through. That's also coming. So in Tapestry, you can play this solo, or you can play up to 5 players. So first, I'm going to explain what everything does on the board so that I can explain how your player boards work and all the actions that you can take. Let's get to the board. So on the board, you have these 4 main locations here. They're by color: red, yellow, green, and blue. So the blue is the exploration tile. Now, every time you're going to move up in a track, you have a cube that's going to track it for you. So you can move up the track by paying the resource. This one means that you can choose any one of the 4 resources that you have to pay the cost to move up here to gain all of these benefits up here, and these are bonuses. So if you have the resource to pay for it, you can get that bonus if you would choose to. And as you move up the board, they do start costing a little bit more. Now they have these nice little tokens here from the expansion so that whenever you take it from this location over here, you can place it on top so that everybody is aware that it has gone. And as you continue to go through, there are more benefits, more bonuses, and as you continue to go up, they start costing even more resources. Now every track is pretty similar. Every track has their own resource, their main resource that you can spend. This one would be food, like as in farming. You have the science track here, which utilizes this icon right here, this resource, which is buildings or houses, things like that. And then you have the technology track right here, and this utilizes market. So anything that would bring in money, or spending money, I guess, in this case, because that's what you're doing. The military, most of what the military is used for is placing some of these outposts on your tiles to conquer it, so that those are your tiles. Now, you can only place a tile next to one that you own. You cannot place it here. You could place it here. And there are a couple of benefits to placing these tiles on the board, because the first person to conquer, to put an outpost on the center, the middle island here, would gain 10 points. The second person would gain 5 points. Now, how would a second person, oh geez, I'm clicking. Now, how would a second person conquer the center island? Well, that would be by toppling over an opponent's outpost. So say somebody else was there and you wanted to go there, you would be able to topple them over. Now there is a benefit, like here, if you are able to topple over 2 opponents' outposts, then you would gain 10 victory points. The second person to do that would gain 5. So the first person to complete one whole track would gain this 10 victory points here. The second person to complete any of the tracks would gain 5 victory points. Now this right here would be anything that's at the end of any of the tracks right here. So again, the first person to do that gets the 10 victory points. A benefit to go with the military is you get to roll these dice here. You would roll them and you would gain one of the benefit on them. So you would either gain a victory point or 7. This red die is for victory points, and this one would be for resources. So you would gain the resource that is on the die, or whatever tile that you have, you could gain the resource of it that way. Now there is another die right here, and this one corresponds with the science. So anytime that you land in one of these spots, one of these locations with a die, you would roll the die, and it is one of the other 3 locations, these tracks right here. You would be able to move up in one of these tracks. So anything with an X on the die, you do not gain the benefit from it. To gain any of the benefits from that green die, you would have to move further along in that track to gain any of the bonuses without the X on it. Now, when you are in one of these locations, you still gain the bonus down here if you choose to pay for the cost. There are a lot of icons on the board, so if you forget what one is or you're not sure what it is, they did a great job with a sheet that goes through every single track and every single icon, and it gives a little bit of a description of what that specific spot does. So I touched a little bit of the science track here. This basically gives you the option or the opportunity to go up in any of the other tracks. Whereas technology, it allows you to gain some of these tech cards. Now the tech cards, those actually go right beside your board here. So anytime that you would land on a spot with one of these yellow cards, the tech cards, you're able to choose between these 3 cards or taking from the top of the deck right there. Once you take it, you would just place it right here. Down on this X location right here, that means that you are not collecting any of the benefits from this card just yet. And I will go over shortly how you collect the bonuses from this. On all 4 of these tracks, you can collect buildings. You can collect these big buildings, or you can collect these little buildings on your board, on your player board. Now, these are for your resources. So anytime that you land in one of these locations, and it tells you to take off one of these, it will uncover a bonus. All of them have different bonuses, every single one of them for each location that you're on. Now, these correspond with the colors here that I was talking about earlier. So you would put this little house on your board here. Now what you're trying to do is complete lines and rows and filling in these 9 slots right here, because as soon as you fill in all of these, but not placing any on these dots, which is what makes it a little bit difficult when you get into some of the bigger ones, to make sure that you're not covering up these red circles. So what you're trying to do is fill in these 9 slots, because it actually gives you a resource of your choice whenever you do fill in one of these 9 spots in the square. So whenever you have the game all set up and you're ready to start your turn, everybody will go through an income turn, and that is on this card right here. It goes through everything that you have to do. So for your first income turn, there's only one thing that you can do, and that is gain income from the resource track right here. Now, once you're starting, everything is filled up except the first square on each spot. Now, you would gain 1 of each resource because they are all uncovered. Then you would gain a tile from the bag, and you will draw one of these tapestry cards. Now, after your income turn, you go into an advanced turn, and that's basically moving up on all the tracks for how much resource that you have that you can pay for to move up any of these tracks. Now, once you have no more income, no more resources to pay for any of the moves, then it's time to do another income turn. For the second income turn, you start off by activating your civilization abilities. Now, the expansion came with more of these, and there are so many with all different benefits and everything like that. So basically, these are just to help you throughout the game, give you some kind of little boost or a little bit extra bonuses or turns that you can do, something to help you in the game, and all of them are different. Now this one right here is the Recyclers, and I am recording this after my playthrough, so I can tell you that I also played with this card in the playthrough. So with the Recyclers, it basically means at the beginning of my income turn, I am allowed to upgrade this tech card collecting this bonus. And then it also allows me, once it is up here, usually it stays up there and you can no longer collect the square bonus. But with my Recyclers card, it will allow me, anytime that I need to upgrade a card, it will allow me to bring it back down here. Now, something about these square bonuses right here, once you are in the circle area, one thing about the square bonus right here is that there are stipulations to it. So one person, either to your right, to your left, or yourself, has to be in a certain location on any of the tracks or certain tracks, or you have to have a certain building uncovered from your resource track, things like that. There are stipulations to it, so you need to be aware of that before moving it up to make sure that you are able to collect that bonus. So that is what my civilization ability does. So you would go through this first, then you would play one of these green tapestry cards. These tapestry cards would be placed right here. Now there are a couple of different ones. This one is, when played, I can gain 10 victory points. Or if I chose to keep this in my hand, if somebody wanted to take one of my locations and topple over my outpost, I could stop them if I choose to use this card for that instead. There are other cards like this one. You get to, whenever you invent, so invent would be taking from here and placing it in your area right here. So when you do that, then you gain 2 victory points for each of the tech cards that you have. So there's those ones when played, this one when played, but also the trap, or there's these ones right here where it's for the whole era. So this one is whenever you explore a new territory, you get to place one of the outposts on it right away, instead of waiting for another turn where you have to use the military track and go up that to be able to use one of your outposts that way. So that would be playing a tapestry card. Then for the third thing that you can do in your income turn is upgrade 1 tech card, and then gaining the square benefit right there, or if you were moving this one up, you would gain the circle benefit. Now, some of these icons are a little confusing too until you get to know them, but on the other side of this card that they give you, or this sheet, they actually have everything on here. So anytime that you upgrade a tech card or you invent a tech card, you can look it up on this sheet so that you know exactly what everything is. So that was upgrading it. Then 4, you get to gain your resources again. So say you have a whole bunch of things that are opened up now, you would gain the benefit or the resource, for each of the icons. So 1, 2, 3. And then the star would be 2 stars. This guy right there would go up 1, and so would the money bags. Along with upgrading a tech card, you also gain victory points based on the income mat right here. So anything that's uncovered like this 4 or these 10s, you would be able to gain that this time. Now, anytime that you have this icon opened or showing, that is for lines that you have completed on your board. So now normally if you only have 1, that's 1 victory point, but if you have 2 or 3 of them opened, then you would count however many rows that you have, then you would count those and you would multiply it by 3 and you would gain those victory points for it. Now, if you have something that's open like this, for any of the tile that you've conquered, then you would gain victory points for those too. And then this one right here, they have many in here too. So those are all 1 victory point per tech cards that you have invented. So if you have all 3 opened up and you have a few here, you would multiply all them by 3. Then you move on to the gain income. So anything that is uncovered, you look for the icon here, and that is how many that you would move up the track and that you would gain. And then that is the end of the income turn, and anybody can go. It doesn't, just because the first player goes doesn't mean that you will go through your income turn after them. It's basically however you choose to use your resources is when it will decide when you do your income turn. So after your income turn, then it is the next player's turn to go, whether it be their income turn or their advanced turns. And then once it's back to your turn, then you get to spend your income and move up any of the tracks that you choose to do so. One extra thing that the expansion has added are these landmark cards right here. So it gives you an option whenever you complete something that it says right here, then you get to gain this building right here. So this one, it says at the end of your turn, if you have at least 3 income buildings of the same type in your capital city, then you get to gain this landmark, and this is the TV station. So you would come over here and you'd be able to place it as long as it can fit in the location like it shows here. It'll tell you exactly how many tiles that you need, and it's looking like it needs to go in this spot because this is the same size as that building. Now, if you have a hard time and you're not able to place this building anywhere, it is allowed to go off of the board. So it would be able to look something like this. It is taking up these 4 or 5 spots right here because you cannot go over the red dots. But I do see a spot on the board that it would fit, and you're allowed to go over. You don't have to stay in the square, you can go over this line too. So it would actually fit right there, which is good because I didn't really want to waste that half building and potentially not be able to complete a line because I was only able to use half of the building. So anyway, that was my overview. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time. Just kidding. I know that you're here for my review as well. So let's get into it. So things that I really enjoyed about the game is that every single track has to do with something that all of the same thing. Like the exploration track has to deal with tiles. The science track allows you to go up on any of the other tracks, along with some extra bonuses and cards. The technology track allows you to gain some of these tech cards to gain more benefits and bonuses and victory points towards the end. And then military track allows you to control a territory. And then every track also has to do with the same colored buildings. So you know what track you have to go up into if you're looking to get some of the bonuses from the resource track, right here. Or if you're looking for some buildings that you might have a spot open for. Now, if you're looking at this board for the first time, it does look like there is a lot going on, and all of the extra buildings, these extra cards, your player area is quite large in this one as well. There is a lot going on, just a little bit of everything. And I must say, I was a little bit overwhelmed whenever I first set the game up and we were trying to learn it. It sounded like a lot. But honestly, it really isn't that bad, and I will show you what the instructions or the rule book looks like. That's it, a whole 3 pages of rules to how to play Tapestry. It was very, very easy to go through the rules. It didn't take us long at all. Usually to play a new game, it usually takes us about a good hour, hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours sometimes learning a new game. And it really didn't feel like that long, and it definitely wasn't even that long when we were learning to play this game. And I felt like we jumped in pretty quickly and actually understood how we were playing the game, and there wasn't a lot of going back into the rule book trying to figure out what was what and if we were missing something or if we were doing something wrong. And I will say, because of this reference sheet that they have for all of the cards, all the tech cards and all of the locations on the board, that really, really helps. I think it comes with 2 of these sheets, so you can pass it around the table anytime anybody needs anything or has questions about anything. Definitely came in handy. I feel like the more that you go through and play this game, the better that you will be at it. The first couple of games that we had, we probably got halfway through each track. I'm not quite sure how I would play my next turn. The next game. I'll probably have to test the waters. I tried getting a little bit of each track in, and I'm thinking maybe you need to focus on 1 or 2 tracks to try to get up there, because these right here, these interstellar travels, these tiles right here, I never even got to play them because I haven't made it all the way to the end of any location on the board. You really have to pay some big bucks to get to them. So I haven't gotten to there yet. So I'm thinking, now that I'm talking about it right now with you guys, I think that's what I'm going to do next time. I'm going to focus on 1 track and see if I can get to the end of it and see what the difference is between gameplays from trying all the tracks versus just 1 or 2. So I'll let you guys know that if I come up with something, if I have anything to report back to you about. Early on in the game, because you have so much going on with your player area, I feel like you can kind of get an idea of how you're going to play the game, because this recycler one anyway, I knew that it was pretty beneficial to get these tech cards, and there are some cards in these tapestry cards here. I'll see if I can find it, because it allows you to, when you invent a card, one of the tech cards, of course there's none. Whenever you invent one of the cards, it will allow you to collect the circle bonus or the square bonus when it's sitting in this location right here. Oh, here it is. I knew I'd find it. There's not too many here. So for the whole era, whenever you invent one of these tech cards, you immediately upgrade it to the middle row and gain the circle benefit. So anytime if you have that and you have this, like, you kind of have to play it by ear and see what cards you have. And then also you play the game for a while, you start to get to know what the tech cards are, what kind of bonuses there are in there, and you also get to know the tapestry cards, what there is in there, what you can do, what to hang on to, and things like that. So the more you play, obviously, the more you'll get to know the game and then come up with a better strategy like this one, trying to pair things together, along with, if you are trying to invent a lot of the tech cards, then maybe these houses are something that you would want to get rid of. So using the technology track, that might be a good strategy. And there's a whole bunch other ones out there too. You let me know if you've played Tapestry and what kind of strategy that you've come up with that has really helped you out. And maybe it'll help somebody else out. Anyway, this was my overview and my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next video. Wait, what? What is happening? What is happening? I don't understand this.